Our family in Poland knew that we were alive, but we didn't know anything about our father. We didn't know, and they didn't know, whether he was still alive or what had happened to him. As soon as we learned about the amnesty for Poles, a few of us wrote down the names of every Polish deportee in the camp, and we went to the Russian headquarters. It was far away from the camp, maybe 18 miles. And we had to sail on the river to Kotlas to get travel documents and to buy tickets for the train in order to travel further. We all traveled to Kotlas by boat. And from Kotlas, we didn't know our destination. At first, we were told we were going back to Poland. We didn't know. We were told that we were going back to Poland. While we were in the camp, we didn't know what was going on in the world. There weren't any newspapers. We were totally cut off from the outside. We didn't know that the German army was near Moscow. So we got our travel documents, boarded a small ship, and arrived at the train. I already had tickets for the whole family. All of the Poles at the camp were gone, except for maybe one family which stayed behind. They didn't want to go anywhere. All the Poles left the camp at once. So we got on the train thinking we were going back to Poland, but they were taking us south to Kazakhstan. And at this moment, tragedy occurred. A lot of children, youngsters, and older people were dying. They all died on this transport. As soon as we moved out of this cold climate and into a warmer one, an epidemic started. A neighbor from our settlement in Poland had 7 children. No, 9 children. They all died. They all died. In our family, I had 2 younger sisters. They died too. The bodies were thrown from the train windows and were left lying next to the railroad tracks. My sisters, they weren't that sick yet, so my mother got off the train with them in Sverdlovsk. She got out with them and went to the hospital. But it was too late, or there was no cure. My sisters died there. Later, my mom, it was a miracle. She joined us. How it happened, I don't know. During this time, while we were traveling, the Polish army had already started forming. The Sikorski-Majski Pact had been signed stating that we had the right to have a Polish army. The Polish army was forming in a place called Buzoluk. Coincidentally, one of our neighbors from Poland came to a train station in Buzoluk, where our train had stopped. He was very happy to see us. He said, "Oh, my friends, it is so good to see you." And he said, "Your father is here in the army." My father had been freed from jail. So our neighbor went to tell him the news. Our father had to have been close because he ran to the train station immediately. He left the army, got into the freight car, and went with us. To tell the truth, he actually deserted the army at this moment. He left everything. He left the army and came with us, which means with my other sisters and I, my mother still wasn't with us yet. Next, we traveled to the border of China, to a cooperative farm. They put us in a kolkhoz, and later our mother joined us there. How it happened, how she found us, I don't know. It was a miracle. So she joined our family, and those of us who survived were together again at this kolkhoz. Our family, my father, my 3 living sisters, my mom and I joined together in this kolkhoz. 3 sisters were alive. 2 had died, and my brother had also died. We were set to work at this kolkhoz. They planted rice, but they used us to dig ditches. We had to work. They gave us very little to eat. It was difficult also. There was such hunger. I remember my father had to kill a dog so in order for us to have something to eat because there was no food. At the same time, everybody knew that the army was forming. So all the men who were able to fight wanted to join the army. The closest place where the army was forming in this region was called Kumene. It was the rallying point. Our head of the kolkhoz let me know that I could join the army if I wanted to. I decided to join immediately. So he put me on a camel and took me to the train station, and from there, I went to join the army. It was known at the time that the Polish army was evacuating to the Middle East. I was so lucky because I was able to join the 7th Division, forming in Russia. Just at the last moment when they were already preparing to evacuate. At that time, there was a typhoid epidemic in the army. A lot of Polish soldiers died there. A lot. Young boys, like this cameraman, 17, 18. I was 18 at the time. Thousands of them died from typhoid. I was so lucky that I had joined at the last moment when my unit was evacuating. I received my uniform on the train. We got to Krasnovodsk, boarded a tanker, and the next day we arrived in Pailevi, Iran. In Pailevi, the Iranians were so nice to us. They greeted us nicely and sold us some food. Mostly eggs. We were immediately taken to be bathed and disinfected. We had to leave all of our belongings. Even my new uniform, we had to leave all of it behind. We got brand new everything, new uniforms, clothing. We got everything new. After 2 or 3 days in Pailevi, they put us onto the trucks. The Iranian drivers drove along steep serpentine curves. They took all of us who had arrived by tanker to Palestine. At this time, while we were traveling, I became sick with typhoid while we were in transport. They left me in a hospital in Cairo. If I had gotten sick in Russia, I would have died for sure, but I was lucky. I was left behind in a hospital in Cairo, and I stayed there maybe a week or 2. My unit went on, and I joined them later. When I got better, I joined them in a camp called Barbara, where the 10th Regiment was forming. Formerly, it was the 7th Division. They divided it later on, and I was assigned to the artillery. I was assigned to the artillery and directed to Barbara, where the 10th Regiment Artillery was forming. The officers from the Carpathian Brigade joined us along with the Polish officers from Russia. We didn't have officers. We lost. The Polish army had lost a lot of officers. We didn't have adequate command. So the officers from the Carpathian Brigade, we were adequately divided among them. And they took command of us. We immediately began constant army drills and training in Camp Barbara. There was enough of everything, enough food, so there was no problem with food. It was organized by the British and was a British protectorate. The British, they took care of us.